Good morning, it's Michael here, and I'm going to make a few videos this morning on the M.E.N.D curve, the curve diagrams for moving, educating, nourishing, and decompressing. And I'm going to have an individual curve diagram for each of these, but the one I'm going to make right now is specifically on the M.E.N.D curve. And what that is basically it's just a comprehensive curve taking into consideration all four of those aspects of health and wellness. So I'm going to go ahead and post a picture, or probably already did, of what I mean by the M.E.N.D curve and what the visual representation of that is. So basically you've got a curve, and on one side of the curve you have it kind of goes up to exceptionally healthy, and then on the other side exceptionally unhealthy. So when you have basically what this represents is the amount of decision points throughout a person's day or throughout their lifetime, and how many good decisions they make versus bad decisions versus indecision versus awareness versus a lack of awareness, and this type of thing. So what I'm suggesting by the M.E.N.D curve, or these curves, is that if you look at it like this, and you consider that somebody that makes more and more progressively an increased number of these healthy decisions versus unhealthy, or a healthy awareness versus lack of awareness, that what's going to occur is that there are going to be either positive or negative repercussions depending on the experience and of the cumulative effects of these decisions or lack of decisions. So what I'm recommending is that, pardon me for looking down, I'm trying not to hopefully not bust my ass in this water here, which is okay if I do. I don't mind getting wet. But what I'm recommending is that, taking into consideration the M.E.N.D curve, is that the more of these decisions you make in every aspect of these areas of health and wellness, the healthier and the better you're going to be on this path. So what I recommend is reviewing the curve diagram for moving, for educating, for nourishing, and decompressing, each one of these specifically, and maybe getting some ideas of how you can increase your awareness and how you can make yourself a little bit more prepared. And what you'll find is that throughout this process, that most people that have a low level of awareness or preparedness or observation of their own actions or inactions, that they tend to vacillate kind of right in the middle. They make some good decisions, they make some bad decisions, and they just kind of go back and forth. People that are exceptionally healthy and that are actually in most cases the role models, or the people that we would look up to and say, hey, I feel like this person has a higher quality of life, or they have a higher activity level, and that's something I'd like to achieve. That these people have a tendency to not vacillate in the middle. They have a tendency to make more and more and more good decisions cumulatively than the average person. And my recommendation of increasing your awareness through journaling, through education, through watching these videos and these types of things, potentially what that will do is that'll actually get you higher on the curve and make it to where you're making a gross amount of good decisions versus hopefully what would be a minimal amount of negative decisions with negative repercussions. Nobody's perfect. You won't be perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But you can strive for having a higher expectation or a higher goal set for you than you may have had in the past, or the other people that even surround you. Just because your social network, or your peer, or your spouse, or whoever, just because they don't subscribe to the same goals and aspirations and life experiences as you do, doesn't mean that you you can't achieve these things individually, because really life is it's a process of really you versus you anyway, and or you taking care of you. And that's where the primary responsibility lies. If you have children, then yeah, you are you're supposed to take care of them, and one of the best ways that you can do that and set them up for a position of success in their life is by leading through example. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess I can give a brief example of what I mean as far as making better decisions. You could consider just a typical day where you might be going to work, and you're going to have a stressful day. It's going to be a long 8-hour day, typical drive, that kind of thing. So if you consider moving, you can make instead of your typical day of vacillating back and forth here on minimal amount of positive decisions, you can start your morning off with, say, like a 20-minute or a 30-minute brisk walk before you go to work. You can choose to, here, let me show you this real quick. It's just gorgeous. You can choose to, at your lunch break, take a walk around the neighborhood. If you live in a building if you're working in a building that has stairs, you can walk up and down the stairs. I worked in a hospital, actually quite a few hospitals, and I do this at the one I'm at now. On my lunch break, I have the ability to go to physical therapy on my lunch breaks and use their equipment. So I do that, and I sometimes walk up and down the stairs, sometimes jog up and down the stairs, and I've done this at many jobs that I've had. And also, like, if I go on a trip and stay in the hotel, I'll use the stairwell. But anyway, it's just these types of decisions. When you're at work, if you have the ability to stand rather than sit. When you get home, you can also take another walk if you can't exercise, or you choose not to exercise for whatever reason. But the point is that you should move. Also, eating throughout the day. You can make sure that you hydrate yourself in the morning, on your way to work, with water, and throughout the day with water. And then also just try and make as many good decisions with your diet throughout the day as you can. You have a preparedness of healthy snacks with you in the car, at your desk, so that you're not snacking on sweets, sugars, junk food, fast food, that kind of thing. And then and then also prepare your home environment so that there's not too many of these negative distractions as far as food being available at your house. Instead, make it healthy stuff that's available. And then decompression, same thing. It's like the more of these positive decisions you make, if you're eating healthily, if you're eating a nourishing diet, then you actually probably will have to decompress less, because your body won't be in such a state of distress. Also, the fact that you're moving more is actually just passively going to decompress you. Instead of watching TV, you've already decided that instead of doing that in the morning before you go to work and before when you get home, that you're going to take a walk. So the more of these positive decisions you make, it actually prevents you from making the negative ones, because you've replaced the time interval that you were going to be making these negative decisions with. You've replaced it with positive decisions, and the cumulative effect of that is profound after you do it for a while. After a month, you should start feeling better. After 6 months, you should start looking better. After 2 years, you're going to be a different person. So you just have to consider that this is a lifelong process, and this is not a diet plan. It's not an exercise plan. This is basically just an improved way of looking at life and taking ownership and awareness and responsibility for yourself. And how do you do this and implement this on a regular basis? And it's really not that hard once you have an awareness of it. You just have to choose to do it, and you have to have a reason why. So for me, the reason why is because I want to live the longest I can in the most active way that I can, and the most aware way that I can, and to be in a functional vessel for as long as I can, which is my body. And it's really my responsibility, no one else's, to make that happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen on its own. It's going to take action and awareness, and basically me loving myself and choosing to put myself in this position. So that's what I am recommending to you, and I hope you achieve that. If you have any questions, or if I did not answer some of those things in the way that makes sense to you, please send me an email and I'll try and do better. Thank you, and have a good day. Mend yourself.